The Bigfooty Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, Conda, power. I love the power. I love the power. I love the power.
Now, moving on to someone who is probably behind Todd Marshall, the second most talked about player on our board this off-season.
Yeah.
And that's Sammy Powell-Pepper from East Perth, who's 186 centimetre, 83 kilo, outside-inside midfielder, can play on a back flank, can play on a forward flank as well. Plays a lot like Dustin Martin, a lot like Luke Shuey.
Yeah.
Very explosive, big body, well-built, plenty of grunt, lots of pace, hits the packs hard, lots of X-factor. Doesn't get a lot of the ball. That's probably one of his downfalls. But for someone who's got the raw potential to really impact AFL footy, I think Sammy's right up there. I'm a real unabashed fan. He's pretty well my favourite player in this draft. Yeah,
I don't know that I'd go that far, but I couldn't pinpoint directly who that was. But Sam, he's a player I've watched a lot. I've gone back and watched the tape a lot on this guy. Because he is a player that you can say, he sprays the ball, but it's like, he doesn't spray it that much. And when he does, it still ends up going somewhere vaguely okay. Like, it's not like a terrible sideways turnover or something like that.
Yeah.
But it just his explosive run from midfield. I mean, that's something we've wanted at Port for a billion years, yeah? Like, that has always, like, for us as a team opposing that sort of player, that has always been the sort of player that we've genuinely struggled with. And so for me, like, the opportunity to turn that around and point that weapon the other way is just absolutely enormous. It's very tempting, and I'd be... look, I mean, if we draft him at 14, some people might say, it's a pick or two early. It's like, yeah, but we got him.
Yeah, exactly right.
So I'd be okay with that, to be completely honest. I think he's got a lot of potential. The one concerning thing you said about, he doesn't get a lot of disposal. That is a real concern, I think. I think he might be a system player, but his traits can really relate to any system I know of. Like the fact that he is willing to be so contested and just sort of make stuff up on the fly. I kind of feel like he's always going to be a loose cannon in any midfield that he ends up in. And then you just have to try and teach him how to be a good loose cannon, because, that does what Sun Tzu says about assuming formlessness. You've got the rest of the side doing one thing and you've got Powell-Pepper going around being a maniac, then you can potentially deal with it. And the opposition they'll be hard for them to match up on.
He's the sort of player that I think would become very quickly a fan favourite, much like Ollie Wines did. And look, he is very explosive. He's got that Judd-like, Sean Burgoyne-like ability to hit a stoppage at pace and win the ball, blink, and suddenly he's 5 metres clear running towards goal. There's not a lot of players that can do that at AFL level, and he would be one of them, which makes him a very sort of tantalising prospect. He is a goal kicker. He has kicked a fair few goals this year. Did pick up a lot of ball at Colts level, again, similar to Guelphy. He averaged 22 touches and a goal a game there. He did play some pretty decent footy at senior level in the Waffle for East Perth, who are a West Coast reserves team. So he's already been in a sort of quasi-AFL system and averaged 12 touches and a goal a game. And look, he's never going to be able to pick up 25 touches a game playing with a bunch of AFL players, because they're obviously going to get the priority.
Absolutely. I guess the big question is, do you think that West Coast will pick him up at 12?
I think there's a big chance. Yep. Yeah. Again, that might be early, but they know him. They've played with him.
Yep.
They would have watched him extremely closely and would know if he's worth picking at that point. There's a big chance there. I think the Crows might be half a chance as well.
I don't think it fits their style.
Yeah. Look, maybe. But I think they're probably going to want someone that can replace that sort of Dangerfield type, and he is a semi-sort of Dangerfield type in his ability to break through tackles and run off with the ball at clearances. So, yeah, look, he's a tough one. Is he going to make it to 30 and 31? I don't think so.
No way.
Will he be there at 14 and 17? Absolutely. Or most likely.
Hopefully.
Should we pick him?
That's what we're saying.
Should we pick him? That's the big question.
I reckon that if you, me, and Mish sat down and we could say who's a player we all want at 14 and we'd be happy with, and we just walk away, we'd be like, yep, okay, if we know we're getting him, that's cool. I reckon he's it. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah. If we've talked about players that can impact straight away, then he is the type of player that can play round 1 next year and look the part, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what Ryan Pillar just asked on live chat. Hi, Ryan. Hi, everyone that's on live chat. I think he is. And also that ties into my theory about us drafting a bunch of midfieldy types in this one batch, is that in between them, in the first year, you might get a full season out of their combination, because we shouldn't be expecting a guy like Powell-Pepper. Like, in theory, he could play a lot of the season, but we shouldn't expect it. He'll be playing a much more contested game than he's played, and he'll be going through, massive training regime. He would be quite likely to break down if we played him for an extensive amount of time, I feel, particularly playing the game he does. So he could play. I wouldn't peg him down to play every game. I don't think he's definitely not an Ollie Wines.
I think he's more likely a 12 to 15 game type, but is most definitely if he has a good pre-season, he's definitely a chance to play round 1 next year and not look out of place, I think. Total Power asked the question on the forum regarding Powell-Pepper. Looks like another turnover merchant by foot. Can we afford to have another midfielder with a shit kick? And I think, he's obviously received a lot of negativity about his poor disposal, and I think it's incredibly overrated, to be honest. He isn't as bad a kick as what everyone makes out. I think a lot of people saw his highlights package from last year's championships and sort of have maybe considered that as opposed to what he is now. I think he's improved his kicking out of sight this year. As you said at the start, he does miss targets, but not by much. And look, Patrick Dangerfield's the best player in the league, and he's a shocking kick more often than not. He struggles to get the ball spinning the right way half the time. So you can still be a wonderful footballer and not be the best kick.
Well, the other thing for me is there's a big difference between a guy like Powell-Pepper who plays midfield to half forward and a guy that sort of drops back. Because if you're dropping back, the turnovers, first of all, turnovers in defence, they should not be as hard to avoid. And second of all, you should have more room for the opposition to be spread out. Whereas forward, you're making something from nothing a lot of the time, and those are the ones that he does seem to screw up occasionally, which is fair enough, When you're making something out of nothing, you shouldn't be expected to be absolutely perfect. Yep. And this is why we're talking about him being pick 14 and not pick 1, because if he could do that, he would be pick 1. There is no doubt.
Yeah. And again, I think he's similar to Bolton in the fact that I think he needs to calm down a little bit before he kicks. He seems to kick at full pace, and that's when he sort of turns the ball over. When he sort of settles down a little bit, he does hit targets, and he can hoof the ball 60 metres. So, look, if we pick up Powell-Pepper, he's one of my absolute wants this draft. If we pick him up, I'll be absolutely stoked.
And honestly, we're talking about his disposal, but if we get a guy like Powell-Pepper, that lets a guy like Jared Pollock play outside. That lets a guy like Amon play more outside as opposed to sort of be a bit more contesty. A guy like Impey alongside Powell-Pepper, bloody hell, could be potentially devastating for opposition sides. Yeah. We don't need to fix necessarily the problem with the draft pick. We need to fix the problem with the list. And this would enable us, if he's playing in the AFL side, then this enables us to move the rest of the list to better suited positions where their skills can be more useful.
So for pick 14, it's Mish with the Adelaide Crows.
Boo. Adelaide Crows.
Just pick Max Lynch. Just pick Max Lynch.
No. I'm going to make a few Port people unhappy, I think, here. Powell-Pepper.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Really? Wow. Okay.
Yep. I just sit there and go, if they ever want a replacement for Dangerfield, even though he's not that good, the hardness at the footy and the way he takes it, I reckon that's a good mix for their midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see a need to bring in a forward or a defender, so it's really just somebody who's going to be through the midfield. The only thing would be if they wanted to go for pace, but I think Powell-Pepper's just got more solid pick. He's going to be good. He can take over that Lions role straight away, and yep.
Yeah, he played 22 games for them. He's an explosive athlete. I really like Powell-Pepper. I'm really hoping he lasts to our pick. Unfortunately, not the case in this draft. But look, they need pace through the midfield. They need players that are solid and can win their own ball. And I think Powell-Pepper's one of those types of players. I think the other one that would be in consideration there would be Scrimshaw, because I think they also need some class defenders who can use the ball. Obviously, he's got midfield scope as well. But yeah, I think Powell-Pepper's a pretty smart pick for the Crows.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
God, wouldn't that result in a massive melt on draft night on Bigfooty?
Well, it really depends on who. I mean, I'm still looking at the pick because we're next pick, right? Yep. Then realistically, I mean, there's a lot of options there, so I wouldn't be spewing too much. But he is sort of the safest option for what we desperately need.
Yeah, like he would be prime Port Adelaide pick with our first pick, I would think.
Yep, definitely. Well, okay.
We just got Powell-Pepper. We
thank
just picked
Christ for that.
Powell-Pepper.
Okay. All right, good.
Look at that.
Okay.
Powell-Pepper. You little ripper.
Okay.
Pick 18,
Okay.
Sam Powell-Pepper. There we go.
Well, we didn't draft Hayward.
Jared Berry can go and cry in the toilets. We've got Powell-Pepper. Everything's all right.
Okay.
Todd Marshall
One of them.
and Sam Powell-Pepper. That's a good first two picks.
They could have
That's
gone
a
worse.
very-
Sam Powell-Pepper, I would not be at all surprised if he started pretty early too. And he'll play.
that is great.
I think when we're looking at Powell-Pepper, we need to be. Well, not that we need to be. I think we should be expecting in time for him to be at a similar level to like Jarman Impey's best games this year. I think he's a similar sort of player. So to have those options, like in 2001, we had Francis and Jules the long kicks. If we had Impey and Powell-Pepper as the guys that can just smash apart your half back line, looking 10 years in the future, that could be an enormous thing for Port Adelaide over that period
I'm
of time.
so happy. I'm so happy right now.
It's okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not. It's certainly
I'm hard
a
as a
long
rock
way.
right now. Portia, I'm hard as a rock
I
right
don't
now.
need to know that.
This is great. Sam Powell-Pepper. He's the one we wanted, and we got him. That is brilliant. And the Dogs with Tim English. There you go.
Well, I guess if you're the Premiers, you can
Makes
afford to
sense. Discuss our picks in a little bit more detail. Sam Powell-Pepper with pick 17. That is wonderful. That is great. That's the player we need. Explosive, hard as a rock, can run through packs, can kick goals, X factor. He's going to win your footy games.
And Powell-Pepper, do you think he's going to become... I mean, we've got 3 two-dads now. We've got 3 two-dads.
We do. We've got 3 two-dads. That's great. That's awesome.
Let's move on and talk about our second player picked. Obviously, Jared Berry went pick 17. Pick 18, Port Adelaide again, was Sam Powell-Pepper, who...
Yeah!
Woo! 186 centimetre, 90 kilo monster from East Perth, a big, powerful midfielder. Averaged 12 touches and a goal a game at the Champs. Averaged the same at Waffle level playing for West Coast reserve side. But did average 23 touches and a goal a game for East Perth's Colts team. Look, if Todd Marshall was the number 1 talked about player on our forum, then I reckon Sam Powell-Pepper was certainly number 2. Everyone wanted him, and I reckon everyone's absolutely stoked that we got him.
For me, Sam Powell-Pepper, it's been really entertaining. First of all, I just want to shout out to all the West Coast fans out there that are completely fucking salty about this one.
There's a lot of them.
That's been really entertaining. So thank you, West Coast fans. We can always count on you for an overreaction. But I feel like he was just the absolute Monty for our side because he adds something that I kind of feel like we've been missing that since our premiership year. When Roger James or maybe even a Josh Franco was willing to take the game on in midfield. That's how long it's been since we've had that kind of midfield performance on any sort of thing like a consistent basis. Boak has had his outstanding games now and then, but he's not been, sort of a shove blokes aside, get down the guts guy. Obviously with Powell-Pepper.
This guy's an absolute package. He already weighs in at 90 kilos. Was in the top 10% over 5 metres in the sprint, which I think is really important. Still did a 3-second 20 metre, which isn't too bad. Had the 3rd best agility time, top 10 in the beat test, top 25 for the 3 kilometre as well. He's got that power and endurance behind him that we haven't had since Sean Burgoyne at his peak, really. And I guess the question is, how much development does he have left in him?
Look, if we've just drafted the next Treadray with Marshall, we've clearly drafted the next Chris Judd with Sam Powell-Pepper. So
I think so. Look, he looks the same. He runs the same. He holds the ball the same. This guy is Chris Judd. Bring it
He's
on.
Chris Judd. How good is it to have Treadway and Chris Judd on the same side? I'm pretty excited
Could
about
you
that.
imagine?
So, Mish, why don't you talk us down from our ridiculous peak?
Always fun. Always fun listening to his crap on. Yeah. Again, I really didn't think we were going to get the chance to pick him. I thought he'd be going at pick 12. Right. So it was like when they took Venables, it was the double beauty for me. It was like,
Yeah,
hey,
you don't like
we
him at
couldn't
all.
fucking draft Venables. It's like, yes, yes. And then Powell-Pepper's still available. It's just like, oh, God, we are going to have a midfielder who physically intimidates teams.
Yeah.
I have to worry about how are we going to stop him? Like, as an opposition coach, we go, who the fuck are we going to put on him? How are we going to control him? Because in 8 touches, he'll change a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about his 20. There'll be there'll be a patch in a game where he'll just change it. And again, you do say Judd. Like, I sit there and go, that's a bit ridiculous. But Judd was like that. Judd only needed 22 touches to change a game. Like, he didn't need to get 34s and that sort of stuff to be a good footballer. When he was at West Coast, as soon as he got over 20, he was getting Brownlow votes. So he didn't need a lot of the footy.
Yeah.
And I think Powell-Pepper's going to be that way too. And just physically, playing on him. Like, I love my tough stuff. I sit there and go, fuck, you just know you're going to hurt by the end of the game.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I wouldn't even want to play Darcy Boone-Jones on him.
Oh.
It's just like, yeah, some of these nice, pretty footballers are going to get a shock because there's nothing pretty about him.
Nah, it's going to be awesome.
We say that,
Gonna
but
be
he had some of the best highlights at the championships, I reckon. Some of his goals that he kicked, where he just sort of burst through the pack and was able to slot the goal, running at full pace. It's rare to find players that actually do that, and to have one in our team when we haven't had one for about 10 years, there's so much excitement to come with Sam Powell-Pepper, and I can't wait to see him in a Port Guernsey for the first time. And I guess the same last question as I asked with Marshall, what are the expectations for 2017?
Premiership Norm Smith medalist. No, look, if he plays about 10 games, I reckon he's probably doing pretty well.
I think so. He's half a chance for round 1, I reckon.
Nah.
No?
He'll play round 1. He'll play 18 games. He'll get rested 4 times during the year. He'll be an absolute... They could run his body in the ground and he'd play all 22.
Ripper. All right. We're going to lock that
He's
in. We're going to be playing
he's
Chris
in our
Judd for
best
22
22.
games.
He's in our best 22. As long as his body's sound, he's playing.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Has to happen.
Yeah.
I would love that to happen.
And, the upside is, like, people have talked about how, maybe his kick into the forward line isn't always great. Like, he's fine, He's not competing against much at Port, so he'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, our forwards are used to shit kicks coming in, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
They might be shocked that they're coming in
They'll
at
be
speed.
Yeah, exactly.